Have you ever wondered why fans are raving about Deadpool but slamming the Agatha series? Is diversity the real issue here, or is there something deeper? In today's breakdown, we're diving into the shocking comments from a Marvel actor who called out fans right before Disney pulled back on LGBTQ themes in Pixar's Inside Out 2. We'll explore how diversity can either make or break a franchise and why Deadpool thrives while Agatha faces backlash. Stay tuned to find out the 4 key reasons behind Marvel's recent struggles. Episode 7 of House of the Dragon ramps up the action and drama in a way only Westeros can deliver. With just 2 episodes left this season, the stakes are higher than ever. We're introduced to fierce new dragon riders, tensions among the river lords boil over, and in true Game of Thrones fashion, we even get a surprise lake dive fully clothed and all. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This breakdown will cover the major theories, lore, and connections to Fire Blood. Don't worry though, we won't spoil anything from the books beyond this episode, so let's dive straight into the action. The story picks up where we left off in episode 6, with Rhaenyra tracking down Adam of Hull, the new rider of Seasmoke. It's understandable why Rhaenyra is suspicious. To her, Adam seems to have stolen one of the most valuable assets in Westeros, a dragon, no less. Seasmoke had been without a rider ever since Rhaenyra Velaryon fled across the sea to Essos at the end of Season 1, leaving his fate unclear. Seasmoke bonding with a new rider could indicate that Rhaenyra has died, and since Adam is Rhaenyra's half-brother, sharing the Velaryon bloodline, it makes sense that he would be next in line to bond with Seasmoke. Rhaenyra challenges Adam and other potential dragon riders with a crucial question: what truly bonds a dragon to its rider? Is it a matter of bloodline, bravery, worth, or something else entirely? Up until now, it was widely believed that only those of noble Targaryen blood could ride dragons, but Adam's existence challenges that belief. Even though we don't know much about his mother, Adam proves that dragon riding might not be restricted to just the elite. This raises a major issue for Jace, Rhaenyra's son. Since his own Targaryen heritage has been questioned due to his lack of silver hair, Jace's ability to ride a dragon has always been his proof of legitimacy. But if people of lower birth, whose lineage is uncertain, can ride dragons, it undermines Jace's claim to the throne. This is why Jace argues with Rhaenyra, urging her not to recruit new riders, a suggestion that's ironic since he was the one who originally proposed it. Interestingly, in the book Fire Blood, Adam doesn't claim Seasmoke. Instead, he's chosen by the dragon. This is something that Rhaenyra might understand on a deeper level, given that she never sought the throne but ended up with it regardless. Adam's quick decision to bend the knee immediately raises red flags for Rhaenyra. She questions his loyalty, suspecting that lowborns may be even more dangerous than the noblemen who've sworn allegiance. But what she might be overlooking is that those of humble origins often turn out to be more loyal than those who are privileged. Rhaenyra asks Adam about his father, but he lies, claiming it's no one of importance. For Adam, all that matters is earning his place as a dragon rider and proving himself, perhaps to gain the respect of his father. After being injured in last episode's riot, Alicent now takes time to think over the choices that have brought her to this point. Seeking solace, she asks to be taken alone to the Kingswood to clear her mind. Alicent's decision to step outside the safety of the castle is surprising, given the near-death experiences she's had on her previous outings, first when Rhaenyra threatened her with a knife, and later when she narrowly escaped a mob. Feeling unappreciated and despised, Alicent reflects on how everything she's done for her family and the realm has left her either cast aside, as she was by Aemond in the small council, or hated by the people. She comments that nothing is clean here, right as a rat is seen scavenging on the table, a grim reminder of the rat catchers King Aegon had executed after the events of Blood and Cheese. Later, we witness Alicent bathing in a lake near Kingswood, a symbolic act of trying to cleanse herself, not just physically, but also from the metaphorical stain of her actions. The scene evokes a clear Christian imagery, dressed in white, arms outstretched as if in a state of baptism, seeking redemption from her sins. This moment is further deepened by her wardrobe choice. She's wearing blue, a color she wore in her youth that symbolized innocence before she adopted the Hightower green after Rhaenyra's betrayal. Interestingly, she's also removed her religious jewelry, a clear sign she's distancing herself from both her house and faith. Meanwhile, Aemond is dealing with the fallout of a recent riot by sending members of the Kingsguard, including Sir Martin Wren and Sir Eddard Waters, to the Wall. These two, unfit as they were, had been Aegon's close companions and were likely punished more for personal grudges than for their actual role in the chaos. A pivotal conversation takes place between Larry Strong, the Master of Whisperers, and Jasper Wild, Master of Laws. Jasper casually reveals that Seasmoke has found a new rider, and it isn't Rhaena, who once tried and failed to claim the dragon. But why would Jasper share this information with Larry's rather than Aemond? It raises suspicion, especially since Larry suggests this rumor is unreliable and best kept secret. As the episode unfolds, we see Aemond learning about new dragon riders gathering at Dragonstone, and it's not hard to imagine Larry's using this withheld intel to throw Jasper under the bus when it suits him. Meanwhile, Jace watches as his mother returns to Dragonstone with Seasmoke, and the Black Council gathers, curious about what's happened with Rhaenyra's former dragon. Rhaenyra, however, doesn't make an appearance, instead sending Maester Gerardis to inform them that Seasmoke's new rider will be trained in dragon riding in High Valyrian. This is yet another moment where Rhaenyra's trust in Mysaria grows as she continues to confide in her instead of Jace, leading to a brewing resentment and suspicion between Jace and his mother. With Seasmoke now in her corner, Rhaenyra seems more determined than ever to find new riders for her remaining dragons. Mysaria, though, mocks her for relying on noble lineages and family histories, suggesting that the true heirs to the Targaryen bloodline can be found elsewhere, scattered across the brothels and backstreets of the realm, where generations of bastard Targaryen princelings live in obscurity. In Season 1, it was revealed that Aegon had fathered numerous illegitimate children, one of whom we even saw fighting in the pits. These bastard offspring, whether of noble birth or not, seem to have the best potential to become dragon riders. This idea sets in motion the gathering of these so-called dragon seeds at Dragonstone, a pivotal moment that will impact the future. Adam, one of these potential riders, finally receives some recognition from his father, Corlys Velaryon, yet one can't help but wonder if Corlys would have acknowledged him at all had it not been for Adam's recent success in bonding with a dragon. Corlys' approval is understated, with him simply offering a well done, and allowing Adam to leave his shipwright duties to pursue his newfound role as a dragon rider. Meanwhile, Oscar Tully, the new Lord Paramount of the Riverlands, arrives at Harrenhal following the death of his grandsire, Grover Tully. Upon his arrival, we see a glimpse of what looks like Alice's owl watching from above as Daemon, visibly exhausted, struggles to maintain his composure. Over the past few weeks, Daemon has been trying to rally an army, all while battling the ghosts of his past, and it nearly drove him to leave in the last episode if not for Alice's intervention. It's curious that Alice herself doesn't appear in this episode, though we do see a familiar black goat, a creepy omen that Daemon first encountered in one of his dreams a few episodes back. Daemon's entitled attitude continues to show when he tells Oscar Tully that he will have his great army, despite the fact that Daemon has been making a mess of things in the Riverlands. A few episodes ago, he had Willem Blackwood commit war crimes in order to bring House Bracken, loyal to the Greens, back in line. Now, Oscar Tully could easily refuse Daemon, but the Lords of the Riverlands take their oaths seriously. Despite their distaste for Daemon, Oscar remains a man of his word. His late grandsire, Grover Tully, had pledged an oath to King Viserys to honor Rhaenyra's claim to the throne, and Oscar is determined to keep that promise, even if it goes against his own feelings. However, Daemon sees these men as nothing more than swords to wield in battle. If he's to gain the army he needs, Daemon will have to shift his mindset and learn to appreciate the loyalty of the Riverlands lords. Outside in the courtyard, a group of these lords gather around a weirwood tree. The setting is deliberate, as the old gods are believed to watch through the faces carved into these sacred trees, making it a fitting place for the Riverlords to pledge their allegiance to Rhaenyra. This gathering doesn't take place in the Fire Blood Book, where Daemon's takeover of Harrenhal and recruitment of an army is much smoother and met with little opposition. In fact, the Riverlords are eager to join Rhaenyra's cause, remembering her as the realm's delight from her earlier visits to their lands. Present at this gathering are the houses of Mallister, Blackwood, Bracken, Piper, Derry, and Strong, though some of the smaller houses loyal to House Tully are absent. If it were up to Daemon, he'd like to sweep his previous war crimes under the rug and move forward, but the Riverlords are just as concerned with justice as they are with oaths. What follows is a tense standoff between Daemon and Oscar. At one point, Daemon corrects the young lord when he addresses him as prince, but Oscar confidently retorts with, "Do you want my army or not in the end?" It's Daemon who has to back down, realizing that brute force and arrogance won't win him the support he needs. Daemon is on the verge of securing his army, but to get it, he must hold his tongue and play the game. However, Oscar Tully pushes things further. Daemon had made it clear that he would do whatever was necessary to bring House Bracken to heel, but it was Willem Blackwood who carried out those orders in such a brutal fashion. Now, Daemon is faced with the difficult choice to dispense justice by executing Willem, the man who simply followed his orders, or risk losing his army entirely. Willem pleads for his life, but Daemon, with a grim sense of duty and experience in such matters, swiftly beheads him, something he's become all too familiar with. As Willem's head rolls, a chilling cry echoes through the soundscape. Listen closely, and you'll notice the sound of bats, the same eerie noise heard during Daemon's dream sequence with King Viserys. This subtle detail suggests some sort of supernatural influence, perhaps tied to Alice Rivers, whose presence looms large, even if indirectly. We're then thrust into the episode's only dream sequence, where Daemon, lying on his bed, is visited by a near-death King Viserys. The old king sits beside him, holding the crown that Daemon never desired. Viserys laments how the crown has brought nothing but pain and suffering to those who wear it. It's a burden that crushes anyone beneath its weight. He asks Daemon if he truly wants it, a question that has been central to Daemon's journey throughout the season. Is Daemon loyal to Rhaenyra, or does he have his own ambitions? This has been a point of tension all season, and the show has masterfully kept Daemon's motives ambiguous. He told Alice Rivers that the people would never accept a woman as queen, but with him by Rhaenyra's side they could rule together. Yet, even Daemon may not fully know what he wants. Despite his complicated nature, one theme remains: consistent duty. Much like his loyalty to Viserys, it seems Daemon will remain devoted to Rhaenyra, though the future holds uncertainty. Back in King's Landing, Maester Orwell assists the king as he struggles to walk, but it's evident that the king is pushing himself beyond his limits. Loras has requested this, ensuring that Orwell will receive advance notice if anyone approaches. It seems they're hiding the fact that they've been helping Aegon recover, as Aemon remains the current regent. Once Aegon is back on his feet, Aemon will no longer hold his position of power, a reality that Orwell and Loras seem eager to ensure. Orwell, who once supported Alicent's claim as regent, now follows Loras' wishes, likely because he sees Aegon's recovery as a more favorable outcome than leaving Aemon in power. Time is of the essence as the dance of the dragons escalates, and Loras wants the king ready as quickly as possible, possibly to secure his own future as Hand of the King. Meanwhile, Alan Valerian prepares the Valerian fleet for war, but Corlys assigns him a new mission. The Queen has ordered a fleet of ships disguised as fishing vessels to covertly transport potential dragon riders from King's Landing to Dragonstone. This operation requires a delicate touch, and the word must first be spread throughout the city. Olinda Massey takes on this responsibility, whispering to every possible dragon seed about the chance to change their fate by claiming a dragon. For many of these people, the opportunity to bond with a dragon offers an escape from the poverty and despair that has consumed the city. With food scarce and little hope left, the lure of dragon riding promises riches and glory. Alan learns that his brother has successfully claimed Seasmoke, and Corlys hints that perhaps he should try his luck with the two other unclaimed dragons at Dragonstone. One is Vermithor, the second largest dragon in all of Westeros, last seen briefly in Season 1. Once ridden by King Jaehaerys over 25 years ago, Vermithor remains a fearsome force. The other is Silverwing, a dragon once bonded to Queen Alicent nearly 30 years ago. Both dragons represent immense power, and if claimed, they could tilt the scales of war in Rhaenyra's favor. However, the challenge of taming them is not for the faint of heart, and the risks are as great as the rewards. Queen Alicent, the grandmother of both Viserys and Daemon, plays a crucial role in the legacy of dragons, especially with Silverwing, one of the few dragons that ventured near the wall but never crossed it. In the lore, there are also wild dragons on Dragonstone, such as Sheepstealer, the Grey Ghost, and the cannibal dragons that have never had riders. Alan makes a clear declaration to Corlys he has no intention of claiming a dragon, stating, "I am of salt and sea." This choice of words is significant, echoing Baela's sentiment about Driftmark needing someone of that very lineage. It could be a subtle hint at Alan's potential future role in ruling Driftmark. Next, we find ourselves at the Bloody Gate, the gateway to the Eyrie in the Vale of Arryn. Its purpose was to protect the Vale from invading clansmen. In the previous episode, Rhaena Targaryen learned from Lady Jane Arryn that Rhaenyra's request for protection for her and her children overseas, facilitated by Prince Horadus of Pentos, had been granted. Rhaena has fond memories of her childhood there, making this journey all the more poignant. As the caravan approaches the merchant ship Gay abandoned, Rhaena embarks on a quest of her own. She seeks the elusive wild dragon. The presence of burnt sheep skulls suggests that she is on the trail of Sheepstealer. In the book, this dragon is claimed by Nettles, a bastard of uncertain parentage, who wins the creature over by offering freshly slaughtered sheep. However, this merger of Rhaenyra with Nettles' character raises questions about her fate, especially since Lady Jane believes Rhaena is bound for Pentos. The scene shifts to a striking visual. Jace stands on one side and his mother, Rhaenyra, on the other, a powerful representation of their differing views on using common folk as dragon riders. Jace understands the implications of his lineage, recognizing that his father is Harwin Strong. This moment marks a critical conversation about his heritage and the legitimacy of Rhaenyra's plans. Jace is deeply concerned that recruiting non-Targaryens as dragon riders would undermine his claim to the Iron Throne. On the other hand, Rhaenyra is faced with the harsh reality of her situation. Without a solid army, the odds are stacked against them, and she argues that they need more dragons, regardless of who rides them. It's a pragmatic approach, and one she articulates with conviction, stating that there won't be a throne left to claim if they lose the war. Her assertion that this path has been laid out by the gods adds a layer of spirituality to her motivations, a surprising development considering her previously more secular character. As Rhaenyra leans into this newfound belief, it raises questions about her evolution throughout the conflict. Amid this turmoil, Ulf, who once boasted of his connection to Balon the Brave, finds himself under scrutiny as the news of dragon riders spreads through the city. He admits uncertainty about the truth of his lineage, yet he ventures to Dragonstone, determined to seize this opportunity. Hugh, too, faces internal conflict. His wife, Kat, worries for his safety after the loss of their daughter, but Hugh is driven by the promise of protection, wealth, and a chance to improve their circumstances. Interestingly, Hugh's background ties him to the Targaryens. His mother claimed to be a half-sister of Balon the Brave, making him a distant relative to Viserys and Daemon, a complex web of familial connections. The gates to the Eyrie have been shut since Aemon ordered them closed, leaving us uncertain of the circumstances that allow Ulf and Hugh to escape. However, it seems that a member of the City Watch, allied with Alinda Massey, assists them in their departure. The journey to Dragonstone takes several days, and Rhaenyra watches as the hopeful dragon seeds arrive. Their arrival is not met with universal enthusiasm. One of the dragon keepers, belonging to a monastic order dedicated to safeguarding the dragons, sees it as sacrilege for an Andal to attempt to claim one of these sacred creatures. The Andals, descendants of the Northern Essos invasion, are viewed with disdain by some who believe that dragons are not mere playthings for men. This philosophical clash leaves their role ambiguous. Are they abandoning their duties or merely stepping back temporarily? If they leave for good, would they return to King's Landing in the Dragon Pit? Rhaenyra addresses the gathered dragon seeds, telling them that everything they believed about dragon claiming is now ash in the wind. In a subtle nod, she reassures Sir Laurent that their endeavors are legitimate. Rhaenyra makes two promises to the dragon seeds: a transformed life and, more crucially, peace. If she can secure Vermithor and Silverwing, Aemon and the Greens would have no choice but to negotiate. But without the Dragon Keepers, she has to call upon Vermithor herself. The crowd watches in awe as she approaches her great-grandfather's dragon, sharing a moment of profound connection. When they close their eyes simultaneously, it suggests a deeper bond transcending the ordinary. Who among you will be first? Rhaenyra asks, leaving them without guidance on how to claim the dragon, only stating that the dragon must speak among the crowd is a notable character, informally known as Silver Dennis. Although not officially confirmed, he is linked to a narrative involving Maegor the Cruel and an unfortunate encounter with Sheepstealer. This moment serves to consolidate various attempts from the book into a singular cinematic experience. As Vermithor scans the crowd, it seems he is searching for the right character rather than lineage. Hugh, later chosen by Vermithor, demonstrates bravery, standing firm against the dragon and declaring, "I'm ready." His courage and resolve may be what truly resonates with Vermithor. This idea reinforces the notion that dragons have their preferences for riders based on character rather than blood alone. As chaos erupts, the atmosphere shifts dramatically. Guards block the crowd from fleeing, an unprecedented move that raises questions about Rhaenyra's intentions. The ensuing pandemonium results in many being killed or injured, a stark contrast to the previous scenes. Rhaenyra's presence, looming above the chaos, hints at her emerging ruthlessness. She may be transforming into a ruler feared by her enemies. Meanwhile, Ulf ventures into Silverwing's lair, making a critical mistake by stepping into a dragon clutch home to dragon eggs. Fortunately, he navigates carefully, avoiding any disastrous encounters with the precious eggs. Unlike Hugh's display of courage, Ulf appears resigned to his fate. His passive demeanor catches Silverwing's attention, who ultimately accepts him as a rider, possibly due to his connection to Queen Alicent. If Ulf is indeed Balon's bastard, that lineage might play a significant role in his acceptance. Back in King's Landing, Aemon convenes a small council with Jasper, Orwyle, and Larys, discussing Ormond Hightower's stalled march. Aemon remains unconcerned, confident that his brother Daeron will soon join the fray on his dragon, Tessarion. The tension escalates when a dragon is spotted over King's Landing, Ulf joyfully riding Silverwing. Aemon rushes to Vagar, but the massive dragon is too large for the dragon pit, leaving them no choice but to retreat upon realizing they are outmatched. The tides of war shift significantly. Rhaenyra now has 3 new dragons and riders on her side, a formidable advantage that complicates matters for Aemon and the Greens. If Rhaena manages to claim Sheepstealer, the scales may tip even further. For the first time since the conflict began, it appears that Team Black is gaining the upper hand. With a standing army at Harrenhal and new dragons to bolster their forces, the balance of power is shifting. What did you think of this episode? I want to hear your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe.